what I learned in my 20s and my early 30s, and also what I learned in 2024. So, I am in my mid 30s and I've learned a lot, okay? And I want to share just a little bit with you. Now, I might have to make a part 2 and 3, yada, yada, yada to this because your girl has got some experience. But let's just start off with a few. So, and this is not in any particular order, but one thing that I learned, I would say, and this is all in collaboration with my 20s, my early 30s, and what I learned in 2024 is make yourself a priority. So when I was younger, I put people and the relationships I had with them above myself. And it wasn't until I got older, and I would say solidly in my late 20s was when I was like, I'm the main character, okay? And at the ending of the day, it's my life, so why not prioritize, y'all know what I mean, prioritize myself, right? If I don't pour into myself, how am I going to give to others? So I'm not saying don't make others, have them to a certain level of importance, but you want to make sure that you are God and yourself, or whoever you consider your creator, and yourself. And I would say, I'm just reading my notes here, and try not to think so hard about what your friends, your family, coworkers, associates, etc. are going to think about you. Now, yes, you want to conduct yourself in an appropriate manner, but at the same time, you don't want to overly prioritize, oh my God, they're thinking I'm like this and they're thinking I'm like this. And if I don't do this and this and this. And I used to think a lot like that. And as I got older, I was like, yeah, it's my life and I'm going to conduct myself the best I can. Sorry if there's a lot of shuffling and ruffling. I got my notes. I'm outside. It's a nice day. And yeah, I don't have my tripod at the moment. So yeah, just bear with me. I got some I'm looking for the word. I got some gems. So the next thing I would say is set goals. Set career goals, financial goals, business, health, any type of goals for yourself. I was always somebody that had goals set, even from when I would say I entered high school, like 14, I had goals. And it's important because you have something to look forward to. You have something to kind of have that marking level of, okay, in 2 years' time, this is where I want to be. In 5 years' time, this is where I want to be, or whatever the way you want to set your goals. It's just, and sometimes even if you may not achieve those goals in a certain amount of time or the way that you originally set it, it's okay. The goals to me are guidelines. So it's just a way to guide. Like if you don't have any goals and you don't have anything down, I don't know. But for me, that helped me a lot because I'm the type of person that I will map out what I'm doing for the day, what I'm doing for the week, what I'm doing for the month, and so on and so forth. And that's how I've been doing it since high school, and I've achieved a lot of my goals. I may not be where I want to be as yet, but I have achieved a lot of my goals, and it's all because I mapped out things and, I researched and I just did what I had to do. So next I would say is very few people are genuine. Okay? Very few people are genuine. So buckle up, honey cup or sugar cup or cupcake, whatever you want to call yourself, because I'm telling you, from somebody who has the experience, who's been betrayed from friends, family, people who I dated, even colleagues, teachers, you name it. I've been betrayed. And I used to look at it like, why is that happening to me? But then I said to myself, you know what? At the ending of the day, it's a lesson. Because the thing about me in the past is I was very open and very trusting. So it was like, I always would say I'm an open book and I want people to get to know me in a certain particular way. And I felt that in order for them to get to know me, I had to be overly open, when really in reality, if you have all your cards and you show them to everybody, I mean, God, come on now. Back then I wasn't thinking about it like that, but as I got older and there was certain levels of betrayal. Now here, I'm going to give you an example. I remember one time I had this friend. It happened with more than one friend, but I'm going to just say with one friend. We both were job searching, and she was saying, okay, this place is hiring. I said, okay. So I said, did you apply? And I believe she said she was thinking about it, but didn't get around to it. And because the location was far, whatever. So I was like, okay, I don't mind. I want to get my money. So if the location is far, as long as I can get there, I'm good. So the day came and I was trying to find the place, but the place was, now this is back in the early 2000s. Yes, there obviously was internet and whatever map app was out, but it's not as accurate as how we are now in 2025. So I was having a lot of trouble finding a place, and I called her and I said, do you know where the place is? And she was saying, she was giving a lot of here and there and kind of not pinpointing exactly where the place was. Anyways, cut to the chase. Somehow, I don't know how, but I pulled the information from her that she knew where the place was because she went there already. The girl went there already and go for an interview already. When she told me she wasn't even applying for the place, right? Anyways, when I found out, the excuse she gave me was lame, because I was like, okay, how are we both friends, good friends, and you look a job, me look a job. You tell me you're not applying, and the day when I'm supposed to get there now and I'm all over the place frantically trying to look, betrayal. And some people be like, girl, that's not betrayal, everybody got to get their bread. Listen, me and that girl were so anyways, I'm not gonna get too deep, because if I say certain specific details, it's gonna give away who the person was. So people will hear what they want to hear, but if you're close friends with somebody and you both are jobless and looking for a job, listen, it's a competition, yes, but there's certain things and certain ways that you just don't do what you do, and there's a lot more examples. I have a lot more examples. I ain't gonna say them. I'm gonna save them. Anyways, I'm not gonna drag this too long. So the point of what I'm saying is that I'm kind of getting off course here, but my point was very few people are genuine, right? A lot of times in life, we meet people, we connect in the initial stages, and we think, oh my god, we're so close, and you're so close, and that person's so genuine when you go through hardship, when you go through certain difficulties in life, and those people stay true. And I'm not saying they have to help you out, but they stay true in terms of just being supportive, asking how they can support you, and doing that to the best of the ability that they can. And if they can't do something, then they'll voice that, and you guys can work through that as friends. But I've learned the hard way that very few people are genuine. There's been numerous times I've tried to help people. I've put myself on the line and have lost a lot because I was basically looking out for people, and people threw me under the bus. And then later on, I found out that they said that I said, just be careful, right? At the ending of the day, even if you and somebody are close, just know that at the ending of the day, it's God and it's you, and it's you and it's God. And when you're going in the grave, it's you by yourself. So just know that anybody can betray you at any given time, and you just got to just be careful, just be strategic. And what I've learned in life is, just because somebody's your bestest friend doesn't mean they need to know everything about you. And I used to have that misconception that, oh my god, if we're close, I gotta tell everything about. No, you don't. No, you don't, because a friend today can be an enemy tomorrow. You got to just know how to sometimes just keep some things between you and God. I remember an older person once told me that and they could be right or they could be wrang, but they said even your own husband doesn't need to know every. Some things are between you and God. I don't know. Take from that what you want. And the next thing I was going to say is be very observant, which ties into what I just said. Be very observant and very cautious. Trust your inner voice, your inner guidance. A lot of times I would doubt that. I remember I had a recent situation where my inner voice was telling me, listen, stop the talking. these people can't be trusted. And I was like, oh no, I want to help and I want to support these people. Listen, part of the reason why I'm in a slight bit of hardship at the moment, I would like to believe, is because I didn't trust that inner voice. And at one point I was beating myself up about it, but I said, you know what? It is what it is. I've learned this lesson many times before, and maybe God is trying to show me, listen, when you feel that feeling, trust it. It's there for a reason. A lot of times we don't want to trust the inner feelings that we have, the vibe, the connection, whatever you want to call it, but it's there for a reason. It's just like when you have certain instincts of danger or, you know, certain things like that. It's there for a reason. People like to sometimes demonize certain things and be like, oh, it's not right and it's not godly, but you have they're natural feelings, and they're feelings because they help you to be able to stay safe and to be alert. And a lot of times your inner feeling, your vibe will pick up on stuff faster than your mind and your reasoning skills will. I'm supposed to be reading from the notes and I'm here crumpling it up. Know what you want from dating. Okay, I crumpled up the paper so bad I can barely even read it. Know what you want from dating. So when dating, especially in, you know, your early 20s and stuff like that, I would say know what you're dating before you even start dating. Is it for fun? Is it because you eventually want to get married? Is it because you're dating somebody for stability? Is it somebody that whatever? And I find a lot of times people tell you when you're young, like, oh, you're young, live it up. You don't need to get serious now. And the funny thing about that is people will tell you that in your early 20s. And then when you're not married by 30, they're like, oh, you can't find somebody and why you're not settled down and, you know, this and that. And you can't follow people. You got to be able to, like I said in the beginning, set goals, have a plan, and know what you want for your life. Nothing's wrong with having fun and, you know, maybe just dating to get to know people and stuff like that and going out. But at the ending of the day, you can't make people set that, you know, standard for you. And people are very confusing, right? They will tell you sit down, and when you sit down, they'll be like stand up, and when you stand up, they'll be like lie down, and when you lie down, they'll be like roll around. You have to know what you want because it's your life. So, you know, I'm not saying don't, you know, take people's opinions into consideration, but a lot of times people are putting their limitations, their misjudgment, the things that they went through and it didn't work, or they saw people go through and it didn't. You can't go by what everybody's saying. Even if the person is your mom, it's a pastor, it's a life coach, like you have to, at the ending of the day, it's you and God and you and the decisions you made, and you have to be happy and comfortable with it. I don't know why I keep crumpling. I'm crumpling up the notes I have, and then I'm wondering why I don't know what I'm reading, like what I'm supposed to say. So the next point I wanted to say was, if I can even read it because the paper is so crumpled up, I have no idea what it says. Okay, take care of yourself and your health. So I remember in my teens and my early 20s, like I was really, really skinny. And I said this in another video that I had before, which was, I think, titled like perfect body or something like that. When I was like in my early teens, I was like size like 0, and then by the time, you know, I got down into my late 20s, I was like, oh, I didn't know I could, you know, put on weight. And, you know, I'm not what most people would consider, you know, a maybe plus size, but I am much larger than 0. And it's not just about size. It's also about your health, mentally, your mental health. It's about, you know, your emotional health, your spiritual health, your financial health. I would say when I was younger, you know, I was definitely one of those people who was like, yeah, I'm young. I got time. Now I'm in my mid 30s and I'm like, oh, I have time, but like, okay. You know, I really do wish I did do certain things in my 20s and have that lined up for now. But prioritize your health, prioritize, you know, your physical health, your mental health, like I said, your spiritual, your emotional, psychological, all the health you can. Prioritize that and do what you got to do to get yourself on, you know, the healthiest path that you can get on. Again, here I am crumpling up the Let's see, what other notes do I have? Okay, build a positive / healthy relationship with yourself, which ties into what I just said. So, when I was younger, as I said in previous videos, I didn't have the best body image, the best perception of my body image, and it was because of what was out in society, what I had family and friends telling me. People used to mock me and tell me I was oh so skinny and I need to gain weight and I had no butt. Then when I gained weight, people are like, oh my God, you're not gonna be able to get a man, slow down, stop eating. Like I said previously, people will tell you to lie down. When you lie down, they'll tell you to get up. When you get up, they'll tell you to spin around. Like, you cannot follow people. Live the healthiest life you can for what your health situation is, right? I'm not saying you have to be super skinny. I'm saying be as healthy as you can. Seek advice from a healthcare professional and go from there. Not from people who are struggling with their own issues of body image that you probably don't even know about. Because a lot of times people will struggle with certain things that you don't know about. And then when they bait you into gaining weight or losing weight or doing whatever, later on down the road, you regret it and you realize, that person had issues with such and such. And now listen, misery loves company. So if somebody has an issue and they can drag you to have an issue too, they will. And I've learned that the hard way. It don't matter if it's your mama, your dad, whoever it is, just be cautious. The video cut off and it cut off where I was talking about building a positive, healthy relationship with yourself. What's the other thing that I was going to say? Can't believe it cut off. My finger pressed. Oh, nothing lasts forever. So again, like I was saying, when I was younger, I did, I was like, I'm young and this, but it ain't nothing lasts forever. And a lot of people will be like, well, duh, we all know that. I know, but I'm telling you, like anybody who has crossed over from 35 and up, they'll tell you when they were under 35 and below, it's just something where you think like, yeah, I'm young, I'm popping, like I have the whole, time ahead of me. I can do this. I'm going to achieve this, and this. And then when you get to a certain age, you're like, oh, I didn't even achieve half the goals. So nothing lasts forever. Friendship, relationship, even if you're married, like at some point, somebody has to die first. It's just nothing is forever. So, just keep that in mind. And try to just, you love, yes, you are connected, yes, but at the same time, nothing lasts forever. What's my next note? Travel, do activities, go out, go to the museum, have friendship groups, network, I don't even know if you heard what I said because I put my finger over the mic. Travel, network, do all of that. Enjoy your life. I remember that I traveled in 2004. That was when I was like 14. And then the next time I traveled was in 2019. Okay. Yeah, a lot was happening in between that time and I just didn't get the time to travel. But I went on a solo trip to the Bahamas, had a blast. I didn't have to do anything over or extreme. All I did was make sure that I booked at a really nice resort. I made sure that, the resort had a lot of things for me to do. And I just went. I was like, when I get there, I'll figure it out. It is what it is. And I had an amazing time. I was worried because I'm like, oh my God, I'm going alone and this and that. But I wouldn't have had it any other way. I was alone. I could get up when I want. I didn't have somebody saying, oh my God, let's do this. And if I didn't want to do it, then there was a problem. And I would sleep until usually I think 7, 8, 9, sometimes 10. Get up, get myself all ready. And then I was down to the beach. I, did what I wanted to do, went around the resort, ate this, that, met people, all of that. And I didn't have to do what somebody else wanted to do. And I'm not trying to be selfish and say you got to do that because some people are not comfortable with solo travel. But I'm just saying in general, that's some of the lessons I learned in my earlier years is have fun, live your life. So many times when other people were traveling, I couldn't. I didn't have the money to travel. I didn't have the time to travel. It just wasn't the time. And then when I had the money and the time, other people didn't have the money and the time. So I looked at it as a sign that God is saying, listen, go on your own and rediscover yourself. And sometimes we're waiting for people and God is like, you were born alone. I didn't wait to join you with So you started this journey alone. Like, you ain't gotta wait for, just be careful and look into the safety tips and precautions that you need to take when you're going where you're going, and just be cautious. That's the best advice that I can give. Be okay with friendships, family, colleagues, and things ending. A lot of times, I remember even when I was younger, I was like, sometimes I still kind of feel a little bit of a way. It's natural, I'm human, but I used to feel so much of a way when things were ending. I'm like, oh my God. And it was this lot. It was this thing. But I don't know, maybe it's because of the line of work that I started doing. I worked at an organization where, let's just say, like, a lot of the people who access the organization for support, people were going and coming. The workers were going and coming. Like, people were going and coming. So I naturally started to get used to people not being around for long, or if they're around for long, they're eventually leaving. When in the past, I was not comfortable with that. And life just taught me, like, people move on for different reasons, different seasons, different changes in life. And you just gotta, it's hard, but you gotta be able to cope and just move on with it. Because let's say you're married. What happens if your partner passes away? Like, you eventually have to pick yourself up and move on. Or I don't want to say move on, but be able to carry on your, day-to-day life. So at the ending of the day, it's part of life. You know what I mean? Friendships end, people pass away, family relationships change, relationships you had with colleagues and people, things change. And you just have to be able to, sometimes just mourn that, learn how to cope, and move on. And I have other tips and things that I've learned from my early 20s and early 30s, plus 2024. But these are just a few that I was able to list down and come up with. So if there's any others that maybe you want me to talk about or touch on, let me know. One, I guess, bonus thing I would say is that I realized that at the ending of the day, like, it really is like you and God, because sometimes you go through certain things and people really, you think they will be there for you, but they're not. And it sucks and it's sad, because you build friendships, relationships, things with associates, and you think, oh, this person is my back, yada yada. I've always heard older people say that your true friends when you're sick, when you're in desperate need, and times of trouble and stuff like that. And it's so very true. I understand sometimes people can't always help the way you may need the help, but sometimes it's not the way people go about not helping. I think I'm mixing up what I'm saying. Sometimes it's not that the person can't help. Sometimes it's the way they go about it. Yeah. Like, if you guys are good friends and you can't help, but you just distance yourself and people aren't hearing from you, you can maybe ask the person, I can't really help you financially, but you know what? Would it help if I call and check in on you? How often would you need that support? Or do you need somebody who, you meet up with them and you guys go out for coffee or ice cream or for walks or, prayer, or, like, just sometimes people just need some very basic support, and maybe not even as often as you think. But a lot of times people distance themselves, they go on off, they really leave you stranded when you're in your hardship. And then when you go through a good time, as this one person told me, when she finally went through her hardship and life was looking up for her, everybody was like, oh my God, I knew you could make it. And they were calling her and they were trying to visit and connect her. And she was like, yeah, nah. She cut them people off, because she was like, when I was going through hell, you guys were nowhere to be found. And now I'm up and doing well and you want to connect and coffee and So, people can be very funny and very strange, and sometimes they don't know how to interact with you during your hardship, but that's why you ask. And if you are supposedly that close with someone, or a certain relationship you have with them, it is, I think, appropriate to ask, how would you, like for me to be there for you, and take it from there. But if you just distance yourself and you're gone, I'm lost. Like, and you want to present yourself when the person is up and doing well, miss me with the bull. Okay. Anyways, y'all, this is getting long. So if you have other points and stuff and you want me to touch on, let me know. And I can do another, part 2 or do a live. And then y'all can come on and tell me, what y'all learned in your early 20s and early 30s and in 2024. So, yeah, hopefully, y'all are able to apply that, and all the best.